You're too good, Newt. You never met a monster you couldn't love. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is directed by David Yates and starring Eddie Redmayne, Katherine Waterston, Dan Fogler, Alison Sudo, Johnny Depp, Zoe Kravitz, Ezra Miller, and Jude Law. As always, there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This is the continuation, the sequel to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which came out 2 years ago in 2016. This is overall the 10th film in the Harry Potter Wizarding World franchise, and this is a film that is also a prequel to the Harry Potter films, which came out many years ago, but is continuing the Fantastic Beasts standalone crop of movies, and this film picks up in the year 1927, which is the year right after the events in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and Grindelwald has, of course, escaped from prison, and he is now on the loose, and it is up to Newt and his friends, as well as the Ministry, in order to track him down and stop him from doing what it is that he wants to do, which is basically take over the world for wizards. This is the 6th straight film that David Yates has directed within the Harry Potter Wizarding World franchise, and what we're seeing is that his particular aesthetic for the Harry Potter world is giving us a consistent tone throughout all of his films, but is also getting kind of drab when it comes to the aesthetics of the Wizarding World. Gone are the days where we see a lot of color and a lot of brightness, a lot of warmth in these movies, and in a way it fits the overall tone that they are going for these Fantastic Beasts films. These Fantastic Beasts films are very much in the tone of Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Deathly Hallows Part 2, that serious, dark tone. If anything, it's even more dark and more serious, and this film picks up that same tone right from the first film. And what I really liked about this movie is I really love going back to a world that I love so much, that I've been a big fan of for so long. I've read all the books multiple times, I've seen all the movies multiple times, and just going back to that wizarding world feels like you're going back home to a certain extent. And there are some callbacks in this movie that made that entrance back into this world feel that much more comfortable. First up, the introduction of a young Dumbledore in Jude Law. Dumbledore, of course, is a very well-known character from the books, from the movies, and I thought Jude Law was fantastic as young Dumbledore. He really portrayed the Dumbledore that we know and love in certain ways. Very wise, very stoic, a very strong character that people have a lot of respect for, and people are very aware of what his stance are on certain things. And Jude Law was able to give the most he could with what he was given. In this film, we see a hint and a little bit of exploration into his personal backstory with Grindelwald. They don't give us things that we don't already know as Harry Potter fans, but they give enough to kind of clue in people who may not be familiar with it. And hopefully that gets more developed as these films go on. We also have the returning characters, of course, of Newt Scamander. He is still the main protagonist of these movies, regardless of how much they are expanding on the franchise. We also get the non-mage or the muggle in Jacob Kowalski, portrayed by Dan Fogler, once again giving a lot of much-needed humor and comedic relief that this film really needs, although some of the jokes in this movie don't quite hit, are not as well timed, and feel a little forced. We also get Tina Goldstein, portrayed by Katherine Waterston. Once again, she's not given much to do in the film. She's not given much more character exploration than we got in the first film. I really wanted to see more of her and have her develop more of a dynamic with Newt Scamander, because they really stress the romantic relationship that both of these two are supposed to have, and it doesn't feel that way on screen. There is not that connection or that chemistry that I think they really want us to believe there is. I also want to mention that Zoe Kravitz as Lita Lestrange was an interesting new addition to this film. I really wish they dedicated more time to it. I would also say that the CGI in this movie at times is just absolutely breathtaking and fantastic. Some of the shots in this movie, combined with the musical score by James Newton Howard is fantastic as well. Really takes your breath away. When you see Hogwarts for the first time, you get that gorgeous master shot of the castle that many of us know and love. It made me feel very giddy, feel very nostalgic for it. Some of the action sequences I thought were really thrilling and really excellent. Some of them are a little messy when it comes to the overall editing of the action sequences, but overall I say that we are getting more of the Wizarding World action than I think we've ever really gotten before, because things are ramping up in the Wizarding World when it comes to the overall plot of this new franchise. Overall, I have to say, the biggest negative I have with this movie, and something that really hurts the movie throughout its entire run, is this is a very messy movie when it comes to its screenplay, when it comes to its plot structure, to the point where there is no real central plot in this movie that you can attach yourself to. There is just so much happening in this movie that it is overbearing for a viewer, and it can be overbearing for people who love the material, who love Harry Potter and all of those things that go into it. And the film just doesn't deliver us the information in a very clean way, or really flesh out a lot of the elements that they give to us. They kind of just drop hints about things that they're setting up here and there, a lot of plot threads that they're just planting right here and that they're going to build later on in another movie. Unfortunately, as this movie went along, I began to have this realization that this is a bridge film. This film's main purpose is to set up the next film, and to set up the first Wizarding War with Grindelwald, portrayed by Johnny Depp in this movie, and I think he does an okay job as Grindelwald. Yet again, with so many plot elements that are being juggled and so many things happening, he doesn't get a significant amount of time to shine, or a significant amount to really develop in any significant way. Unfortunately, with the movie being this haphazardly constructed, it can lead to people not liking this movie at all. And also, there are some information and some lore changes in this film that are going to rub people the wrong way as well, despite all of the plot problems that it has. It seems to me that this film had at least 10 to 15 minutes of extra footage that would have at least made the film be a lot more cohesive. This next thing may be a little bit spoilery for some, so if you don't want to see it, please skip ahead, but I'm going to be as vague as possible. There is a shift in allegiance from one character in this movie, and it was something that I thought wasn't earned. The character wasn't built up to make that turn. It felt very contrived, and it really made me upset leaving the theater that it had to happen. And it wasn't something that I completely dismiss, it's just, it didn't feel like it was believable. So with all that being said, I'm going to give this film a 3.25 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this film from an entertaining perspective, from a very surface level perspective. I thought the acting by pretty much everyone involved was really good. Some of the dialogue may be a little wonky. The action sequences were fun and entertaining. The CGI looks fantastic. And I enjoyed taking another trip into the Harry Potter Wizarding World. But unfortunately, the plot is a bit of a mess, and this film feels like just a bridge to the next one. But if you're a big Harry Potter fan, I would say watch the film and make your own conclusions. That has been my review of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.